literally, no pun intended. So if you have questions, just ask away and we'll catch your attention. So cool.
So I just wanted to start, welcome to my kitchen, and to tell you a little bit about what I found out about why we traditionally eat dairy on Shavuot. And there are lots of suggestions of the reasons. The two that I particularly like are, the first one is that when the Jews received the Torah in the desert, they had not had any rules of kashrut up to then. They received the Torah. The Torah says, these are the rules for ritual slaughter. It takes time. They don't have time, so they eat dairy. I like that. The other one is that the Torah is linked to milk. That it's like honey and milk and the Torah and life, and that's my favorite one. And so,
oh, good picture.
The words of the Torah lie on your tongue like milk and honey. So those are my two favorite. The rest have to do a lot with gematria and numbers and all of that stuff that I don't understand. So I just disregarded them. Anyway, so this is a really easy recipe. I have 3 tablespoons of butter in a baking dish, and I'm just going to put the baking dish into my preheated oven while I'm doing the rest so that the butter can melt into the dish. And the first thing is 4 eggs, and I like to bring my eggs to room temperature before I use them. I find that they beat better, they heat up better. And I'm doing them individually just to make sure that I don't have any blood spots in these eggs before I use them. Okay. And just for a little history, this bowl belonged to Buzz's grandmother.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So you melt the butter in the pan, you mix all the rest of the ingredients together, and I have taken the liberty of pre-measuring most of it except for the sour cream. So 1.5 cups of sour cream. I have to tell you that in this recipe, the exact measurement is not critical. As long as you're close, you're okay. 1 cup of sugar. Half a teaspoon of salt. One teaspoon of vanilla extract. One tablespoon of orange juice. And I used the juice from the orange that I zested before. And I use a microplane to zest the orange just because I like the way the zester works. And you just zest the whole rind of the orange. Pretty close. Make sure you get all the zest off the bottom of the microplane. And then mix it all together. until it's really smooth. And with any luck, the butter is melted. So the butter's just about melted, and I'm just going to help it along here a little bit. Oh, move this out of the way. I use the amount of butter the recipe called for, 3 tablespoons, but I think you could do with 2. Would really probably be enough. But anyway, just sort of make sure the butter is spread out on the bottom of the dish. And then the blintzes. Magically fit in this size pan in 3 rows. You could probably use a few more. And put them in seam side down. Okay. You put them in seam side down. And you give your batter another whisk around. And then pour it over the whole thing. Is Helen here?
No, I don't think so.
No, no, Helen's not here today.
Then I can use cinnamon.
That's she doesn't like it.
Helen doesn't like cinnamon. Anyway, you pour it over the whole thing. And because we do like cinnamon, but I like to use cinnamon sugar, not just cinnamon. And just sprinkle it over the top. And then it goes back in the oven for 45 minutes.
What temperature?
350. And through the miracle of modern technology, it's finished.
Bravo.
So
You know what Buzz is going to be eating for the next week?
I'm going to bring one to Laura for Zev's birthday. And so it could be 1 or 2 blintzes per serving, whatever you like. And I just took some, it needs to be warmed up. I just took some blueberries and boiled them for a minute with a little bit of sugar and cornstarch, just to put on top. And there is nothing easier for Shavuot than this Blintz casserole.
I agree.
Any questions? And put it on a nice plate.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you use frozen? Did you freeze? Did you defrost the blintzes?
I defrosted them till they were almost defrosted. As long as you can separate them, and as it happened in this particular package these are Golden brand, and they're in a little plastic tray, so they're individual.
Oh, they won't stick together.
So they don't stick together. So if they're, so if they come like this, you could really just do it from frozen. You don't even have to defrost them.
Okay.
The other thing that I make for Shavuot is a sweet dairy kugel. And it's also very easy. Boil the noodles, mix the ingredients together, which is the only other thing. There's cottage cheese and cream cheese in that mixture, as well as the eggs, sour cream, and sugar. Pour it over the noodles. I make a cornflake crumb and brown sugar and butter crumbled to put over the top, and bake it for 45 minutes, also 350. And these things freeze really well. And so, but if I were going to freeze it, I would only cook it half time. I would cook it like maybe 25 minutes instead of 45 minutes or something like that. And then when I go to reheat it, cook it for another half hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
You use a sugar substitute?
Probably. I never have. I make it once a year. So I figure I'll just do it. I've never used a sugar substitute, but I think you could probably use something like Splenda. I also think that you could use less sugar. You could probably use a half a cup of sugar instead of a cup in this recipe.
Okay. Cool.
Anybody else have a question?
Nope.
Comment?
You were in New Zealand for 4.5 months and all you got was an apron?
Well, I've been trying to not bring home too much stuff. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. So this was a very quick cooking class, and
It's good.
Thank
Thank you for having me.
I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed watching you.
Oh, thanks. It was so good.
I'm trying
And
it.
11 leave both all of
I'll
you.
expect an overnight package.
I made it. I'm cooking it. Is
Oh,
that
dear.
brand of
What a
blintzes
group.
that you use the brand you like? Because they have 2 different kinds at Market Basket.
Well, so those of you who know me know that we've been home for just over a month from our winter sojourn in New Zealand, and our children have rules for us. And one rule is that we can't go shopping.
Okay.
And so when Heather went to Market Basket, Golden's was what she found. And so, my only specification was I wanted cheese blintzes. This recipe does not do well with fruit-filled blintzes.
Okay.
because
They
it's,
they get watery, and it spreads and it's not pretty. So I would put fruit on top when you're ready to serve it.
Okay.
So the brand doesn't matter
Okay.
as long
I
as.
bought 2 different kinds. I guess I'll figure out which one's better.
What other kind did you find, Nancy?
It was Grand. Hold on, I'll go find the package.
That was my sister-in-law, I can tell.
They were jumbo ones.
oh, jumbo.
Jumbo.
So there were only 4. Let's see.
Probably,
Did they fit into the pan? All right.
Gabilas?
Gabriella, where are they? They make blintzes now? Wow.
They had Gabilas, Blintzes made with farmer cheese, and then the golden. So there were 4 in one and 6 in the other.
Yeah.
So the 4 probably was equivalent to the 6 because they were
Big
larger.
one. Yeah.
So I don't know. I got them all cooking
The
right
other
now.
thing that you can do, if after it's baked like this, this one's cooked completely, and you could separate them into packages of 2 or 4 if you wanted to, and freeze them And then just take out a small amount for if you know you only have 1 or 2 people. If you don't have a crowd.
If you don't have any fruit like blueberries or whatever, can you use applesauce?
Oh, applesauce, apricots, strawberries,
Anything.
Okay,
pretty much anything.
okay.
Yeah. You could
Yes,
open,
we have applesauce. I can donate some
you
if
could open
you
a
wait
can
to make it till
you could
tomorrow.
open a can of fruit pie filling, like cherry pie filling, or
Or you could use frozen fruit,
yeah, you could use.
frozen
Well, I
blueberry.
don't know how good frozen fruit would be. It gets kind of watery.
You're gonna cook it down.
But you could cook it down and add a little bit of cornstarch to it.
Maybe Jade.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. I think I might have some frozen raspberries.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good.
Okay.
Mm.
Cool.
We can see.
Or you could put ice cream on it.
Ice cream.
Oh, Greg will like that.
Carrying on the dairy tradition.
Ice cream.
Thank you, Elaine. That was great.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I will see you. What are we doing next week?
I don't know.
So next week is cocktails, and
Oh,
we're
yes,
gonna make fudge whiskey.
Ooh.
Whiskey fudge. Yeah, super easy. I looked at the recipe. It's Jack Daniel's whiskey, which I mean you don't have to use that. And then chocolate chips
Oh,
and
Oh.
maybe some sugar.
just
So
think
pretty
that
simple.
we'll always have around whiskey and chocolate.
Yeah.
So same time, same
So-
station?
Okay.
Yeah, next week we're gonna start at 6 o'clock, just so people know, because we're gonna do the really whatever between 6 and 7, because we have to induct the Sisterhood board for 2021, so that'll take literally 5 minutes. And then Liz was gonna cook after, but I figured if people wanted to hang out before and share maybe their favorite cocktail recipes, I'll open it up at 6, and so we can kind of make some cocktails and hang out.
Excellent. Sounds
Okay.
great. Great.
Cool.
And next week I will be at Nancy's house.
What?
Excellent.
I have a question. Rose, is it the same login information or is it different
Yes.
each week?
It's the same one every week.
Perfect.
Ah,
And there will be no password, so you don't have to worry about that. But we're working with the synagogue how to like make sure that the link goes out if we register, but we're kind of working through some stuff.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.